What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Coach Steve Show podcast, where today we are going to continue another simple defensive segment to try to crank these out because there's a lot of different things to talk about on defense. And we're going to talk about the similarities and the differences with the 3-4, the 3-3-5, and the 3-5-3. We will talk about those today on the Coach Steve Show podcast. Make sure you hit the like button and the subscribe button. Leave a comment in the comment section down below on the YouTube channel. Please follow it, rate it on iTunes. It goes such a long way. Please and thank you. We're going to talk about just the look of the 3-4, what is mainly out of a 3-4. Then we'll look at a 3-5-3 and a 3-3-5, similarities and differences, different personnel groupings that you'll probably use, because these are the defenses, in my opinion, especially the 3-3, that teams are now starting to really go to. Football comes full circle. Used to be 5-2, then I got into the 4-4, 4-2-5 world, and I'm just speaking high school terms. Then you start to see a little bit of the 3-4 and why maybe some teams don't do it. Then you start to see a little bit of 3-5-3, and then now really the 3-3-5. At least for me, I'll probably see it 6-7 times this year. So let's talk about the differences, similarities between these odd man defenses. Okay, so let's talk about the 3-4 first. The 3-4, when the first time I ever had to coach defense was the 3-4. I was an offensive guy. I only coached defensive line. I get to a new school, talk to the coach, and he said, "You're going to coach running backs, linebackers, and we run a 3-4." So I really had to dive deep into what his 3-4 and what he wanted to do, and got me looking more into the 3-4, and I personally love it. It's a defense you can hop into from almost any other one, which we'll talk about later on. But right now, we'll talk about this defense and how this even is similar to a 4-3, which that will be a whole nother video and you can see similarities. But right now we're talking about the 3-4, 3-3-5, and the 3-5-3, and talk about what they are. So just like it sounds, 3-4, just like the 4-2-5, is 3 down linemen. So you can call, you're gonna have your nose guard. He is mainly head up the center, but you can move him into gaps, tilt him, and all that stuff. You can call your ends the tackles, or you can just call them the ends. You could have your stud, you could have your whip, you could have them travel any way you want. This one, I didn't really flip-flop these guys too much until I had a guy that was actually like a stud defensive end who was tough. So I had him go to the strength because that was the run strength when I ran this. Then you have your inside backers. You can call them your Mike and your Will still. You can call it Mike Sam, whichever you want. I like the Mike Will. We would call the outside backers Razor, like our signals for them, if we wanted to blitz them would be Razor or Laser. And so that way it's telling them R and L, and you determine. So if the R was more for run strength or towards the strength, you could have that. So right now, if the Y was what was dictated, we're in a 2x2, seeing another spread, the R would go over here, the L would be here. You've got your corners out on the outside receivers. And then you have, again, depends on what you want to call them. You can call them free safety, strong safety, weak safety. Free safety to some people means they're by themselves. So sometimes they call them strong safety and weak safety. So if the strong safety has to go with the side, they flip flop. Your weak safety might be your better coverage guy. That's where the term weak comes from. Just means they're better at coverage, and the strong safety is still good in coverage, but can come up and make a run. So you have a 2-high shell, which type on in a video before about cover 2. So this gives a cover 2 look or a cover 4 look, which we'll get into later on. So then you got plenty of guys up here. So normally what I had, how you line them up, and we'll talk about how you form out formation people, but you could have the outside backer start even with these guys. I sometimes had them line up head up the slot receivers, but a lot of times they're just out here splitting the difference because it does put pressure on the offensive tackles to see, like, are they going to blitz? Are they not going to blitz? So I'm starting to see more of this defense. I'm starting to see more of a 3-3 myself, but this is a 3-4. And it just allows you to do stuff up front. This is a defense I'd like to see run against the wing T teams because it takes away angles with the linemen because they're all down blocking. It's easier to down block on somebody instead of nobody's there and have him show up. People started to get away from these type of defenses because they felt like they had to have a big time nose guard. And with talking to some people, you necessarily don't need the big nose guard that's always going to demand double teams. You can still have a fast nose guard here. So this is a 3-4 against a 2-2 look, a 10 personnel look. Now let's say the tight end came in on the line of scrimmage. This is where you start to move guys around if you wish. And that's what's good about this. Now, in an even man front, the 4-2-5, the 4-4-4-3, you're already going to have a defensive end. So he's going to be out there. So you have to make a decision. Do you want this to be a 5-0-5? Do you want it to be a 4-eye? Do you want this linebacker to walk down, simulating that 4-man look, but he can drop back into coverage unlike a traditional defensive end? He can line up back here, but still covering. You can have this guy be a 5, hop him out almost into a 6. You can move those guys around. If they had 2 running backs in the backfield, nothing really changes. He pops back here. Cool. You could have this guy coming off the edge, have him stand out here. You give this too high shell look to be in cover 2 or anything. We'll talk about that looks like, because it's pretty simple. So this 3-4, you're able to get these backers up in the run game. If they go back into that spread look, you're pretty balanced. Now it simulates a 5-man box, but right now you start to play games. You could have them slant in. You can do this. You can do that. If your ends are your C gap run guys, you want to slant your nose guard one way or the other, your Mike and your Will. So it's about 5 for 5. Offensive guys like that when it's 5 for 5, but if one of your defensive guys can beat them, then you have these guys. So if it's a true run, these guys could fill in and scrape over and make runs, especially if they're dudes. You can move guys if you want him more up on the line and walk the safety down a little bit, all that stuff. But with the 3-4, this is how it traditionally looks and what it means. And you really can play games with people. That's why I liked running this. You can move guys around, have them line up differently, but this is what a 3-4 traditionally looks like. So let's go into what a 3-3-5 looks like. This is a defense that I am seeing more and more, and I will see a lot. 3-3-5, it's just what it sounds like. You have 3 down linemen with 3 backers, and then you've got 5 coverage guys. So again, your corners, obviously, corners you've noticed never change in defenses. If you're new or in youth and get into it, they never change. Then you probably truly have a free safety because you're going to give that one high shell look for a cover 1 or a robber, or excuse me, cover 1, robber, cover 3, that type of look. Then you got, so the inside the box, you're always trying to have, you're simulating all the time. You're trying to have 6 guys. You can get these guys to bump out a little bit because in a 3-3-5, you could still, like in the 4-2-5, this free safety could drop if you're playing cover 2 and he could drop and all that stuff. But this is what it looks like, 3-3-5. You're trying to have guys in the box. So if a tight end comes down on the line of scrimmage, you can bump that end out. You could have him still be in a 5 technique, but the Sam is going to jump out. This Mike will just take a step in. The Will take a step in. Your Jack or whatever come down. And then you have this bandit out here kind of roaming. He can fly up. It is a difficult thing sometimes to block. It looks easy on paper. You think you could just triple team guys, but if these guys slant really hard and do all this other stunning that we'll talk about, what you could do out of this later on, this is a defense that we're starting to see. Same thing. You don't have to have this big time nose guard. You could have a quick guy in there and do everything else. These inside backers don't have to be world beaters. You kind of want a big time Mike linebacker, but these can almost be anybody because they don't have to worry about coverages as much, which we'll talk about in another video, what coverages look like out of this too. And so you don't have to worry about as much because you got, if you want to call them Jack and Bandit still, Star and Whip or whatever you want, they're still out here. They can line up here. You have more guys down into the run to make it more difficult on them how you line up for the linemen. If they wanted to go even to trips, so right here we'd have a trips right. Well, you could slide this backer all the way over here. The safety can come over here. This outside guy could jump out here. The Will could slide over here. Everybody just slides a little bit over, but they could still be here. So you notice not much change. You can slide guys over. You can flip-flop guys. Still running a cover 2. So if he wanted to run a cover 2 and drop back for running cover 3, he's here. He's here. He's running out to the flat. He's running out here. Then you got a guy covered here, guy covered here. He's dropping back, like all this stuff that you could do out of a 3-3-5. So that's why I think a lot of people are going to this. It makes it easy. But right now you're seeing same-ish tendencies with the 3-4 and this 3-3-5. So now let's move on and you'll see a real similarities between this 3-3-5 and the 3-5-3. So you'll notice with the 3-3-5 and the 3-5-3, pretty similar with a 4-2-5 and your 4-4, because in a 3-3-5, You have the backers in there all the time, but you got those outside guys that can start moving around. When you've got a 3-5-3, from my experiences, they play majority of the time just cover three and variations of cover three. You get into the 3-3-5, they can, cover two and roll guys and everything else. Essentially, you're taking a defensive lineman away from those defenses and here and putting them out here. So right here, you can have corners deeper if you want in a 3-5-3, because like it sounds, 3 down linemen, 5 backers now, and you got 3 guys out there. So these backers kind of have to be good in coverage, but they could be head up these slots and out here. And, if they want to throw it here, great, but they don't know if this guy's dropping back, anything else. Can this corner fly up? So majority of the time it's cover 3. But to make it more difficult, because how do you beat a cover 3? Well, you run verticals. But if these guys bump them off here, you do all that. Then the games that you can play up front, because you always have 6 in the box. That's why a 3-5-3 and 3-3-5 are very similar, but 3-5-3, you're majority of the time always going to have that 6 in the box. You start working with the 3-3-5, you could have to roll guys. Maybe one of those guys have to bump out. Maybe you only get 5 guys in the box, kind of like a 3-4. But majority of the time, these guys stay in. Again, hand down tight end comes. This guy could bump right down with him. He could just stay here, bump this end in between them, and he's still covered. If they went double tight, you could do that too. These guys would just move up a little bit. Look, 3-5-3. So these guys are able to still run. You could have them bump out right here to protect anything else here. They wanted to go full on wing T look, like a pistol wing T. Everybody's here. You could bring these guys up on the line. Corners drop down, like all this stuff. It's still a 3-5-3. So very similarities between the two. But in this one, you're really focused on the run game part, because you're always going to try to have 6 in the box. And if they bring a guy in, you still have a guy off the edge and play games up front, which we will get into later on. We don't want these videos to be crazy long. So this is, if you're watching the video, how they move and everything. It's very similar. You can still name the players exactly the same. But there's similarities, especially with that 3-3-5 and the 3-5-3. And that's it for that one. It shows you how to line up a little bit with the 3-5, 3-4, the 3-3, and the similarities that they have with these odd man defenses. We'll do videos later on about what cover 2 looks like out of them. Can you run cover 2 on some of them? Cover 3 and all different coverages, the basics of it, not getting crazy with the blues and the mixed coverages. We'll get to that later on. My defensive mind and how I understand it, but how to install it. We won't get that deep. Again, this is to be simple. This is our simple defensive segment. We got a lot of things to do on the simple defensive side. So thank you guys again for watching and or listening. If you want to be on the podcast, send me a message at coach_Steve72 on Twitter. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow it, rate it on iTunes and everything else. Leave a comment in the comment section down below. Reach out with questions, talk ball, anything else. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. This is Coach Steve, and we will see you next time.